Somewhere out there, a Neanderthal man is being credited with the smoothest pickup line in human history. Scientists called it partner preference. National Geographic called it Romeo. Here's what didn't make the headline. The reason your X chromosome barely has any Neanderthal DNA in it might not be romance at all. It might be your ancestors' own bodies quietly rejecting the pairing generation after generation. Hey, welcome back to Branch Points, where we dig through 50,000 years of family drama so you don't have to. Back in February, a study dropped in the journal Science that should have been a quiet, technical footnote about chromosomes. Instead, by the time it finished bouncing around headlines, it had become a full-blown prehistoric romance novel. So today, what the scientists actually found, no headline attached, and the far less comfortable explanation everyone skipped past to get to the cute version. Here's the actual science, and it's stranger than they fell in love. Every non-African person alive today carries a small percentage of Neanderthal DNA, somewhere around 1 to 2%, left over from when our ancestors and Neanderthals crossed paths in Eurasia tens of thousands of years ago. But that DNA isn't spread evenly. It shows up plenty across most of your chromosomes, except on the X chromosome, where it's oddly, almost suspiciously rare. Neanderthal DNA on your X chromosome is rarer than it should be by a lot. The imbalance works out to roughly a 62% gap. And here's the plain version. It means almost every time a Neanderthal and a modern human had kids together, it was a Neanderthal father and a modern human mother. Almost never the other way around. And this wasn't a one-time thing. This exact pattern shows up again and again across separate interbreeding events spread out over roughly 200,000 years. Different populations, different eras, same lopsided result. Whatever was happening, it wasn't a one-off. It was something closer to a rule. That's a real, weird, worth-a-headline finding. The problem is what happened to it next. The researchers themselves were actually careful. They floated partner preference as one possible explanation among several, not a confirmed fact. Cautious, hedgy, scientist brain language. Then it hit the headlines. And headlines don't do cautious. Suddenly, Neanderthal men chose human women. There's a Romeo comparison. Prehistoric soulmates are trending on a Tuesday, right next to a guy falling off a Lime scooter. Look, I get it. Ancient humans fell in love across species lines beats statistically skewed X chromosome admixture pattern every time. But somewhere between the lab and your group chat, a cautious statistical model turned into a Nicholas Sparks novel. And the real explanation is a lot less romantic and a lot more interesting. So if it probably wasn't love, what was it? There are at least two other explanations sitting right there, and neither one involves candlelight. Option 1, basic hybrid biology. When two closely related groups interbreed, sex chromosomes tend to be more sensitive to genetic incompatibility, and male hybrids in particular can end up more biologically fragile. So that missing Neanderthal DNA on the X chromosome might not be about who anyone chose. It might be natural selection quietly editing out combinations that didn't work over and over across thousands of generations. Less love story, more biological spell check. And that repeating pattern across 200,000 years actually fits this theory well. It's not one couple's story. It's a rule your biology kept enforcing on its own. Option 2 is the one nobody put in the headline. Some researchers point out this exact pattern. Males from one group, females from another, over and over, is also what you'd expect from an unequal relationship between two groups, not mutual attraction. As one paleoanthropologist put it, if males from one population were consistently the ones pairing off with females from another, that looks less like courtship and more like an imbalance of power. Neither one fits on a Valentine's Day card. And the honest answer is, scientists don't know for certain which one it is. Maybe both, at different times, in different places. What they do know is that it almost certainly wasn't the neat version. And this is the part that actually matters. Past the headlines. Your genome is a record, not of romance, but of relationship. Who moved where, who had power, who got erased along the way. That's not a bug in the data. That's the whole point of doing this kind of science. We keep wanting our ancestor story to be a love story because it's comforting, it's tidy. But 50,000 years of human history was rarely tidy. It was migration, competition, cooperation, and sometimes conflict, all tangled together in a way that shows up quietly in your own cells right now. That's the legacy this week. Not a Romeo, a record. And records don't need a love story to be worth telling. So next time you see a headline about ancient humans falling in love, do what we did here. Go find the actual paper and see what the scientists were actually careful enough to not say. The real story was never as neat as the headline. It's usually better. If this kind of thing is your speed, there's more where this came from. I've got a video on the Denisovans surviving 60,000 years just to lose to a cold snap, sitting right there if you want to keep going down this rabbit hole with me. See you in the next one.